Hi, my name is Wanjiru Kihusa. Welcome to my channel. I'm shooting this in my kitchen because my son is sleeping and I want to make as little noise as is possible. I'm a mom of three. My son is 3 years old. I have lost two children, but I still, consider them my children. Hence, when I say I'm a mom of three. So today I'd like to talk about how we lost our daughter and the grief process, the journey towards trying again, the mental struggles that came with it, and some of the lessons that I have taken away from this situation. And so we got married in 2012. My story is a bit familiar because I have shared it a lot of times with media stations, especially because of Still a Mom, the organization that I run that supports parents who've lost a baby. But I'd like to, I don't think I have documented it in video before, and this is probably 8 years later, and I think, yeah, it deserves to be shared. So we got married in 2012, and we knew each other from university. We were straight out of campus, and we got married. And a year into our marriage, we felt we wanted to try for a baby, and I am so grateful to God that we didn't struggle with getting a baby, and we got pregnant very soon, and the pregnancy journey began. My first pregnancy was hard. I remember the morning sickness was out of this world. My face was a mess. But most importantly, I remember that when I was 6 weeks pregnant, I started to spot, and I called my doctor, and she said, "Come over immediately." And when I went, she sent me for a scan, and she said, "Yeah, the pregnancy is still okay. The pregnancy is still viable. Is something the medics say." And after that, she put me on these medicines that I had to take morning, lunchtime, and night. People every time I say that I share that story and I talk about do fast when I see a few people nod, because I do know that there are few people who have had to be put on medication for their pregnancy. And so that was the case. And then at around 16 weeks, I was okay. Like, I had been good. I had been told to stop being on medication. I was eating well. And just like that, from 16 weeks, I just got sick. And I went to many doctors. I went to a lot of doctors, and nobody could tell me what was going on. I was having shivers and chills. I was in a lot of pain, and nobody could say what was the problem. All I had was, "You have an infection. We can't quite tell what it is, but here are some medication." And the problem with being pregnant is that you cannot be put on very strong antibiotics. And so whatever it is that I was put on was not clearing the infection I had. And at 20 weeks of pregnancy, in the middle of the night, my labor just kicked in. And I remember we drove to Nairobi Hospital, in a craze. And when we got there, I was put on medicine or on drugs to try and stop the labor. But unfortunately, by midday the next day, the baby was born. And I remember not being able to get to the delivery room because everything happened too fast. And so I delivered our daughter. Her name is Leila. But by the time she was born, she was stillborn. And at this point, though, the doctors were able to now put me on stronger antibiotics, and the infection did clear. After a lot of back and forth, they discovered it was listeria. It's an infection that comes from food. And basically, if you're not pregnant, it can be just, food poisoning or something like that. But listeria comes from raw food or undercooked food, or so mostly meat and milk can have that problem. And so we still don't know where I picked it up from, but anyway, is that even an issue at this point? And so the point is, we lost our baby. I was in hospital for 3 days, and let me tell you the roller coaster of emotions that hit me. I remember leaving Nairobi Hospital, and right outside there was traffic, and I remember feeling like everyone has gone on with their lives, and my life just came to an end. And yeah, losing a baby is one of the hardest things I've ever been through. That and IVF, big struggle. And so we were told that, we can conceive after 3 months, like we can try again after 3 months. My doctor really wanted to make sure that I was fully clear of this infection. And the next year in 2014, we did get pregnant, and we had a miscarriage at 8 weeks. And this is where I'd like to leave the story, because what I want to share today is about grieving. And I went through that grief process, and man, it was a lot. I remember I left my work. I've met a lot of, in the process of working with Still a Mom, I've met women who quit their jobs, went back to school, like just made really major drastic changes in their life, which as a counselor I'd say is not good because you're not supposed to make major decisions when you're going through a difficult situation, or even when you're extremely happy. Both extremes are not okay. But I remember mostly just feeling very, very broken and traumatized, and um, I was very angry. I wasn't angry at my spouse. I was not angry at my doctor. I felt both of them had done everything they could to look after me. I was not angry at myself, a bit actually, to be honest, because I felt like I should have been seeing one doctor consistently who would have on my file. Because I do remember by the time I landed in Nairobi hospital, they were like, "How have you been having a fever like this?" And nobody chose to admit you. And so yeah, I do remember feeling a bit angry at myself for not having a consistent physician, but mostly I was angry at God. Um, and I'm a believer, and I felt like yeah, it's true. I was feeling entitled, to be honest. I felt like we had done this right, we'd gotten married right. We had not cut any corners. We were loving God. How could He let this happen to us? And so I was very angry, and I spoke about it loudly to my friends and to those people who were around me. Um, but what I can say is I didn't go to church for about 3 months. But every out of the people that I would speak to around that time, I got bits and pieces of people who would really encourage me, or who would really call me out on my nonsense. And I do remember my friend, her name is Maggie, she asked me, did you ever count the cost of discipleship, the cost of Christianity, the cost of your faith? When in the Bible, when it talks about the person who built on sand and the person who built on the rock, and when the rain came, the person who built on the sand, their house fell, and what a crashing that was. And I realized, and she asked me, what does it say about your faith if after losing your baby, you're ready to be like, God, I don't even know you, I don't want to be with you. And that called me out a lot. And basically, I'd say my faith is stronger right now. My faith is much, much stronger. I think I needed to get to that place where I believed God for myself, and not for what He could do for me, and not for the faith that other people had in Him. And it did lead to me starting Still a Mom. If you're someone who's lost a baby and you're wondering about this, I'll put a link in the description box to link to the organization that we run, called Still a Mom. We counsel people who've lost a baby, miscarriages, stillbirth, infant death. And maybe one day I will share my journey about running Still a Mom, the challenges, the immense blessings and joys of being with women who have lost a child, and their families, and seeing them heal from that loss. But today I just want to share my story about losing a baby. And if you need somebody to talk to, or somebody who's going through this, I'm going to share some links in the description box below, that we did at Still a Mom, about the do's and don'ts of supporting somebody who's lost a baby, and any other information that could be helpful to them. Other than that, please comment in the comment section and let me know whether this helped you in any way, and what is something you would like me to talk about next time. All right, thank you. Bye bye. See you soon.